Reflection. There's something powerful about a person who refuses to react. You ever notice that? When the world's shouting and one man or woman stands still silent, composed. It shakes people. Reflection, especially manipulative people, because they thrive on chaos. They feed off reactions. But when you stay calm, when you hold your ground and your peace, you take their power away. See, reflection. Calm isn't weakness. Calm is control. Calm says, I see what you're trying to do and it won't work. Manipulative people don't fear your anger. They don't fear your shouting, reflection, your frustration or your emotion. They fear your stillness. Because when you stay calm, they can't find their way in. They can't twist your words. They can't lead your emotions. Flexion. They're left standing there looking foolish while you remain unmoved. When you're calm, you force people to face themselves. You become a mirror. And manipulative people hate mirrors. Reflection. They don't want to see their reflection. They want you distracted, emotional, and lost. But when you stay centered, they lose control of the game they were playing. Reflection, because the game only works when you play it. So if someone ever tries to push your buttons, don't give them that satisfaction. Breathe. Look them in the eye and smile, not a sarcastic smile. Reflection, but one that says, you can't touch me. That kind of calm. It's terrifying to people who survive on manipulation because it exposes their weakness. Reflection, it shows them you've mastered something they can't understand. Peace under pressure. You don't have to fight every battle. Sometimes, flexion, the greatest victory is not letting someone pull you into their storm. Stay calm and you pull them into your peace. Flexion, and when you live that way, when your peace becomes unshakable, manipulative people stop seeing you as a target. They start seeing you as a force. So remember this, reflection. Calm is not the absence of power. It is power. It's strength under control. It's the quiet confidence that says, I know who I am. I know what I stand for. Reflection. And nothing you do can change that. Stay calm and watch how fast the manipulators lose their grip. When you stay calm in the face of manipulation, reflection, you instantly disrupt the entire power structure that manipulative people depend on. Their entire strategy is built on reaction. They poke, they provoke, they test you. Reflection, waiting for that spark of anger, fear, or defensiveness that gives them control. The moment you respond emotionally, you hand them the remote control to your behavior. Flexion. But when you refuse to react, when you keep your composure steady and your energy still, you snatch that control right out of their hands. You stop being predictable. Reflection. And predictability is what manipulators need to win. They plan their every move based on how you'll respond, and when that response doesn't come, their entire plan collapses. Reflection. Think about it. Manipulative people want to lead you into confusion. They thrive in emotional chaos because it keeps you distracted and off balance. The calmer you are, reflection, the clearer your thinking becomes. You start to see through their tactics. You begin to notice the small manipulations, the guilt trips, the twisted words. Reflection, the emotional traps that you might have missed before. Your calmness gives you perspective. It allows you to observe without being dragged into their storm. Reflection. While they're expecting you to lose your cool, you're watching them expose their own intentions through frustration. Flexion. Because nothing frustrates a manipulator more than someone they can't manipulate. When you stay calm, you send an unspoken message. Reflection. You don't control me. Das. And that's the most threatening message you can deliver to someone who feeds on control. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. Reflection. It's not aggressive. It's quiet confidence. It's the kind of energy that makes people second guess their power over you. They start realizing that no matter how hard they try, flexion, they can't get you to move emotionally. That stillness becomes your shield. It keeps you grounded when others want you scattered. It protects your peace while others try to steal it. Flexion. Calmness isn't just about holding your tongue. It's about mastering your state of mind. It's the ability to recognize that your emotions belong to you and no one else. Flexion. It's knowing that you don't have to respond to every insult, react to every tone, or fight every battle. You simply stand your ground with quiet strength. And when you do, reflection, manipulative people quickly learn that their games don't work on you anymore. Your calm presence breaks their pattern. Flexion, it takes away their favorite weapon, your reaction, and leaves them powerless in their own chaos. When you remain calm, you become an observer instead of a participant in someone else's game. Reflection, manipulative people operate best when their actions go unnoticed, when emotions cloud logic, and when chaos hides their true intentions. But calmness cuts through that fog like a blade. Reflection, it allows you to see beyond their words and gestures, to notice the small inconsistencies in their tone, their timing, their body language. When you're calm, reflection, you start hearing what they don't say. You catch the slight hesitation in their voice, the forced sincerity in their compliments, the subtle guilt they try to plant in your mind. Reflection. You start to see the pattern behind their behavior, and that awareness makes you untouchable. Most people miss the truth because they're too busy reacting. Reflection. They're caught up in the emotional push and pull of manipulation, unable to step back and see the bigger picture. But when you're calm, reflection, you're not inside the storm, you're watching it from above. You see where it starts, where it's headed, and who's stirring it. Reflection. Calmness gives you the clarity to understand intention rather than just appearance. And that clarity is dangerous to manipulative people because once you see their intention, reflection, you can't be fooled by their disguise. Their charm, their guilt tactics, their emotional pressure, it all loses its power the moment you recognize it for what it really is. Reflection. Calmness also forces manipulators to face the discomfort of exposure. They start realizing that you're not reacting the way others do. You're not getting flustered or defensive. Reflection, you're simply observing, analyzing, staying quiet while they talk themselves into corners. And in that silence, they begin to unravel. Reflection. They start questioning whether you already see through them, whether you're aware of what they're doing. Reflection, that uncertainty eats at them because manipulative people depend on being in control of perception. When you stay calm, reflection, you take that control away by shifting the focus from their act to their intention. Calmness is like holding up a mirror, one that reflects truth, not emotion. Reflection. And manipulative people hate mirrors. They hate being confronted with their own reflection because it strips away their illusion of control. Your stillness shines a light on their darkness. Reflection, it shows them that you're not someone who can be easily swayed by flattery or fear. It tells them that you can see right through their performance. Reflection. And the more they realize you're not playing along, the more their mask begins to crack. Calmness doesn't just reveal who they are to you. It reveals who they are to themselves. Reflection. And that's something they can't handle. When you have control over your emotions, you hold the highest form of power a human being can possess. Reflection. Manipulative people thrive on emotional instability. They look for those cracks in your composure where they can slip in and twist your feelings to serve their agenda. Reflection. The moment you become reactive, angry, defensive, anxious, they've got you. Because now you're moving on their rhythm, not your own. But when you master emotional control, reflection, when you can stand in the middle of provocation and not let it touch your inner peace, you become untouchable. That kind of control doesn't just silence manipulators. It intimidates them. Reflection. They realize they can't pull your strings because you're not dancing to their tune. Emotional control is power because it keeps your focus clear. When you're calm, you can think rationally. Reflection. Assess situations accurately and make choices from strength rather than impulse. Manipulative people want you to react quickly without thinking because that's when mistakes happen. Reflection. But when you respond slowly, deliberately, and with calm certainty, you're taking back control of the moment. Reflection. You're showing that you don't move based on what others say or do. You move when it aligns with your truth. That self-command builds respect. Reflection. Even those who try to manipulate you are forced to acknowledge that you cannot be controlled through emotion. Reflection. There's a quiet strength in a person who doesn't need to prove their power through aggression. True power isn't loud. It doesn't need to shout to be heard. Reflection is found in the person who listens more than they speak, who observes before they act, and who refuses to let anyone disturb their mental balance. When you're that person, reflection, manipulators lose interest because they feed off emotional energy. They need drama, conflict, and reaction to survive. Take that away, and they have nothing to work with. Reflection. You starve them of the fuel that keeps their manipulation alive. Being emotionally in control also means you no longer allow others to define your state of being. You decide when to be calm, reflection, when to speak, when to walk away. No insult, no guilt trip, no pressure can make you move before you're ready. That level of self-mastery makes you a fortress. Calm on the outside, reflection. Powerful on the inside. You start to see that every emotional reaction is a choice, not an obligation. And once you understand that reflection, you begin to move through life with a new kind of confidence, the kind that doesn't need validation, doesn't seek revenge, and doesn't crumble under pressure. You become centered, steady, reflection, and unbothered, no matter who tries to shake you. That's why emotional control terrifies manipulators. Because when they can't control how you feel, they can't control what you do. Reflection. And when they can't control what you do, they lose every bit of influence they thought they had over you. Your calmness becomes their defeat, and your composure becomes your crown. Reflection. Peace is the kind of strength most people underestimate until they see it in action. When you're at peace with yourself, when your emotions are stable, and your energy isn't easily disturbed, reflection, you become a mystery to manipulative people. They can't predict you, they can't provoke you, and that unpredictability terrifies them. Manipulators survive by reading emotional patterns, flexion, by figuring out what makes people tick and how to push the right buttons. But when you live in peace, those buttons don't work anymore. You don't rise to bait, you don't feed into arguments, reflection, and you don't let other people's negativity disrupt your calm. Your peace becomes your armor, and it makes you untouchable in a world full of people trying to pull you into their chaos. Reflection. Being calm doesn't mean you're passive. It means you're powerful enough to choose your response instead of being controlled by impulse. Reflection. Manipulative people crave chaos because chaos gives them room to control outcomes. But when you stay grounded, you take away that environment. They can't twist peace. Flexion. They can't manipulate stillness. The more they try to provoke you, the more your silence exposes their weakness. Your calm presence reminds them that they have no power unless you grant it. Reflection. That quiet confidence makes them uncomfortable because it forces them to face their own lack of control. Peace also gives you clarity. Reflection. It's in those calm moments where you can see the situation for what it really is. You begin to recognize that not every battle is worth fighting and not every person deserves your energy. Reflection. Manipulative people want to pull you into endless conflicts that drain your spirit. But when you're at peace, flexion, you understand that sometimes walking away isn't losing. It's winning with dignity. You start choosing your energy wisely, protecting your space, reflection, and refusing to waste time explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. That choice to remain peaceful, even when provoked, shows a strength that noise can never match. Reflection. Your peace changes the atmosphere around you. It's felt when you walk into a room. It calms tension, it demands respect, and it silences manipulation without a single word. Flexion. People start realizing they can't use guilt, fear, or anger to move you. And when they see that, they start backing off. Because peace disarms manipulation faster than any argument could. Flexion. It's not about fighting back, it's about standing firm in your stillness until the storm loses interest. Peace doesn't need to prove itself. It simply exists unbothered by noise, reflection, untouched by control. Manipulative people are terrified of peace because they can't operate in it. Their strength fades in the presence of someone who refuses to lose their calm. Flexion. They need emotional chaos like fire needs oxygen, and your peace suffocates it. When you hold your peace, no matter what they throw your way, reflection, they realize you're not someone who can be controlled, played, or broken. Reflection. You become a different kind of powerful, the kind that commands respect without force and wins battles without making a sound. Flexion. Silence is one of the most underestimated weapons a person can possess, yet it's also one of the most powerful. Manipulative people rely heavily on words. They twist them, exaggerate them, flexion, and use them to pull emotions out of others. They talk to confuse, they talk to provoke, and they talk to gain control of a conversation. But silence stops all of that. Reflection. When you choose not to respond, when you let your quiet do the talking, you take the ground right out from under them. Manipulators can't argue with silence. Flexion. They can't twist words you never said. They can't provoke a reaction when you give them none. Your stillness leaves them exposed, talking in circles. Reflection. Revealing their own intentions with every word they say while you simply watch and stay composed. Reflection. Silence doesn't mean you're powerless. It means you're wise enough to know that not every situation deserves your voice. There's strength in restraint. Reflection. There's power in knowing that your peace is more valuable than winning an argument. Manipulative people want you to engage because the moment you do, reflection, they can twist your reactions and paint you as the problem. But when you stay silent, you rob them of that opportunity. You leave them with nothing to hold on to. Reflection. Your silence forces them to sit with their own discomfort, to face the truth that they can no longer pull you into their emotional drama. Silence also creates space for truth to surface. Reflection. When you don't fill the air with defensiveness or explanations, the manipulator's words begin to echo back on them. They start tripping over their own lies, exposing inconsistencies. Reflection. And showing everyone around them who they really are. People who manipulate depend on fast reactions. They want things to escalate quickly before logic can catch up. Flexion. But silence slows everything down. It forces them to think, to squirm, to reveal themselves in ways they didn't plan to. Your calm quiet becomes a mirror, and in that reflection, they start to see their tactics falling apart. Choosing silence doesn't mean you're ignoring what's happening. It means you're controlling it. Reflection. You're choosing your response with intention rather than emotion. You're saying, I don't owe you my reaction. That single choice shifts the power dynamic completely. It's not loud, reflection. It's not aggressive, but it's deeply unsettling to anyone trying to manipulate you because manipulators thrive on chaos and noise. When you give them peace and quiet, flexion, they have nowhere to hide. They begin to lose their confidence, their charm starts to crumble, and their manipulative energy dies in the stillness you maintain. Reflection. Silence also speaks volumes about your self-control. It shows that you're not easily shaken, that you understand your worth and don't need to defend it in every confrontation. Reflection. It's a calm declaration that says, if I see you, but you don't move me plasty. And that message, unspoken but clear, hits harder than any argument could. Reflection. In a world where everyone is eager to respond, the one who stays silent stands out as the one who's in command. Your silence becomes your strength, reflection, and your peace becomes the loudest statement you'll ever make. True mastery lies in calmness, because calmness is not about what happens around you. It's about what happens within you. Reflection. When you've reached a point where chaos no longer shakes you, insults no longer pierce you, and pressure no longer bends you, you've stepped into a level of control that very few ever reach. Reflection. Manipulative people can sense that kind of mastery, and it unnerves them. They realize they can't manipulate someone who knows who they are. Reflection. They can't confuse someone whose mind is steady and whose emotions are anchored in self-awareness. Reflection. Calmness becomes your form of leadership. It makes you the one who commands respect without demanding it, who influences others without even trying. It's not a reaction, reflection. It's a state of being that radiates quiet strength. When you've mastered calmness, you stop living in defense. You no longer waste energy proving yourself or fighting unnecessary battles. Reflection. You begin to understand that real power doesn't come from control over others. It comes from control over yourself. Reflection. People who try to manipulate others are constantly seeking that control externally, trying to dominate situations and emotions. But you, when calm, operate from a different place. Reflection. Your power doesn't need to prove itself. It simply exists. It's the way you handle a heated argument without raising your voice. The way you make a decision under pressure without rushing. Reflection. The way you walk away from drama without losing your balance. That kind of poise isn't learned overnight. It's built through self-discipline, self-respect, reflection, and the deep understanding that peace is more valuable than ego. Calmness teaches you patience. Reflection. It shows you that not every reaction deserves an immediate answer and not every provocation needs to be met with fire. You begin to value observation over participation. Reflection. You listen before you speak and you think before you move. That level of awareness keeps you 10 steps ahead of those who operate through manipulation. While they're busy trying to stir chaos, reflection. You're quietly reading their moves, understanding their motives, and deciding what truly deserves your attention. Reflection. That's the difference between someone who's reactive and someone who's mastered calmness. The reactive person gets pulled into every storm. Reflection. But the calm one stands firm and lets the storm pass around them. Calmness also draws people in, not through intimidation, but through presence. It's magnetic. Reflection. People can feel when someone has mastered their emotions because that energy brings security and confidence. Leaders who embody calmness don't have to shout to be followed. Reflection. They lead through example, through steadiness, through the kind of peace that others crave. Manipulative people, on the other hand, can't stand that energy because they can't replicate it. Reflection. Their power is fragile. It depends on reactions, on noise, on confusion. But calmness doesn't need any of that. It's self-sustaining, it's grounded, and it's impenetrable. Reflection. When you reach that level of calm, you understand that silence, patience, and composure are not signs of weakness. They are evidence of strength that has matured. Reflection. It means you've learned how to rise above your emotions and see things as they are, not as you fear or hope them to be. Manipulators fear that kind of person because you can't be baited. Reflection. You can't be deceived and you can't be controlled. Calmness becomes your shield, your wisdom, and your weapon all at once. Reflection. It's the ultimate sign of mastery, the point where your peace becomes louder than any chaos around you, and your stillness speaks a language that only strong minds can sow in the end. Reflection. Remember this, your calm is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the voice inside you that refuses to let chaos win. The world will always try to pull you into noise, into conflict, reflection, into confusion. Manipulative people will test your patience, push your buttons, and try to make you question your own peace. But every time you choose calmness over reaction, reflection, every time you choose silence over argument, every time you choose peace over proving a point, you rise higher than their reach. Staying calm doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself enough not to let anyone control your energy. It means you understand that the real battle is not out there. It's inside. Reflection, because the moment you master yourself, no one can master you. Calmness is your crown, peace is your armor, and self-control is your throne. So stand firm, breathe deep, reflection, and walk with that quiet confidence that says, I am not here to be shaken. Let others waste their power on noise and manipulation. You stay calm, stay centered. Flexion and watch how your stillness makes the loudest impact of all. Understand